Hey y'all, this is Mary from Stamps and Lingers, and today we're going to do a little tiny gift bag that we're going to make using a 12 by 12 sheet of designer paper. Any kind of pattern paper will work, and an envelope punch board. So let me show you how this looks first. You can see it's not huge. I mean, it's, 3 or 4 inches tall and only about 1.5 inches deep. So you're not going to put like, a sweater in here, but it's certainly big enough for some chocolate or a little toy or some sort. And you tie it with a pretty ribbon. You can see it's got holes in the top. And because I've used two-sided paper, the inside is just as pretty as the outside. So there's room in there to put a little bit of grass or some raffia or something like that and a little gift, and then tie it up. And then you can decorate the front however you like, put a pretty tag on or some flowers or whatever. I'm just going to show you how to make the bag, and then your imagination is the only limit that you'll face. So let's get started. First off, what we need is an envelope punch board of some sort, obviously. A bone folder. This one happens to go with the punch board. Some good snips to do your cutting. A small punch of some sort. This is a 1/2 inch punch that I've used to create the holes in the top. And I like tear and tape adhesive as my adhesive. It has a very good adhesion, and I think your little bag is going to get quite a bit of use, so you want it to hold together. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, I've made a template on a piece of plain cardstock, so it's a little easier for you to see. We're going to operate with 2 sides. Side 1, what we're going to do is we're going to make tabs on each of the corner. You're going to have 3-inch tabs on opposite corners and 1.5 inch tabs on the other corners. Let's take a look at just the, the anatomy of a bag. Once we get done with the score lines and the cutting that we're fixing to do, this center portion is the bottom of the bag. These 2 narrow rectangles create the sides of the bag. And then the 2 large rectangles make the front and the back. And then these are the top flap. And these smaller tabs are what will go on the inside of the bag. So let me get my paper out here and we'll get started. All right, so this is some paper. This happens to be from Stampin' Up, so it's a little heavier weight, but you can use whatever designer paper that you prefer. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our tabs. So in order to do that, we're going to place our paper in the punch board and line up the left edge with the 1.5 inch mark. And then we're going to make a punch. We're going to take the bone folder and we're going to score along the score line, just like you were making an envelope. Now here's the only tricky part of this whole mess, is not getting too anxious or energetic with your score line here, if you will, because when you get to right here, you're going to run out of punch board. And if you're not careful, you will punch through your paper, I promise. I know this because I have done it. So be careful. So 1.5 inches, we punched, we scored. Going to do a 1/4 turn to the left, line the left edge up on the 3-inch mark, punch, and score. Be careful. Be careful. All right. 1/4 inch turn to the left and line up on 1.5 inches, punch, and score. Go easy when you get to the end where you think that corner kind of is, okay? And then the final turn to the left, 1/4 inch, or I'm sorry, 1/4 turn, and line up at the 3-inch mark. And then punch and score. All right. Now, I just turned the paper over and I'm starting with a 1.5 inch. So 1.5 inches, put the left side of your paper at 1.5 inches, punch and score. And it may be difficult to see, but even though I'm still being careful, these score lines from when I scored the other side are starting to come together. So now I'm going to turn a 1/4 turn to the left, line the left side up at 3 inches, punch, and score. Another turn, 1.5 inches, punch, and score. And the final turn, line up the left edge at 3 inches, punch, and score. All right. Now, before we put our envelope punch board away, I'm going to turn this over. It's a little easier to see the score lines here, I think. Take the score alignment point and line it up with the score line that helps create this tab. We're just going to score right across there. What we're making now are these score lines, and that is so that we can fold our tabs. Okay, so we're going to do that on all of the tabs. Line this score line up with the score tool, the score guide, and score across the tab. Turn, line it up, score one more time, and one final go on the 3-inch tab. Okay, final thing for our envelope punch board to do is to round our tab corners, like so, using the outside rounder. All right, and we can set that aside. We are done. All right, so now we're going to do some cutting. You can see I've outlined these cuts. All right, we're going to cut right on the score lines next to the large rectangles, and we're going to make about, a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch flap on the smaller rectangles. And this is where we're going to put our adhesive, okay? So let's do that. I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm starting with the large rectangle like we just talked about, and I am just cutting along the score line, and it's probably difficult for you to see it, and I'm sorry about that. And then I'm just going to turn and do the other side. And then do the corresponding one. You see how what I'm doing is I'm cutting the score line right up to the intersecting score line right there. All right? And then we'll do the other large rectangle. Like so. Right up to the intersecting score line. Okay, so you can see we have now freed up the front and back of the box, or the bag, I'm sorry. Okay, now next to the smaller rectangles, we're going to cut a flap. And it's not rocket science, it's not that exact, but you want to have enough space to put your tear and tape adhesive. So that is about, that's about a 1/2 inch flap, and that's plenty. All right, so we'll do that on the other side, like that. Again, this is all going to be inside the bag, so it's not that critical. And you can see I'm just getting these little pieces of DSP, and you can hang on to them because they're big enough to do another project with, make a label or something like that. So let's do the other side. And again, we're cutting, there's the score line for the small rectangle. I'm going about a 1/2 inch out. And it'll be easier to see how big everything is when I get this folded up. And then we'll do the other side as well. And if you're like me and a bit of a pack rat, you're going to hang on to this DSP because it's too pretty to throw away. Okay, so that's how it looks. Not much like a bag, but it will in just a second. So now we're going to start doing some folding. Now I think I want this side in, so I'm going to fold everything this direction. Because that's me and that's what I want to do. You can do however you like, of course, because it's your bag. And then be sure to fold your tabs, your adhesive tabs. This is really very easy. Don't be intimidated by it. All right. Almost there, and then we're going to start putting it together. And then it's going to start to look like a gift bag. Yay! All right, so let me show you how it's kind of going to go. You can start to see it coming together. These are going to go inside here, like so. And we're going to have us a gift bag. All right? So let's go ahead and get some adhesive. Now, here's the thing. Whatever side is out is the side of these tabs that you want to put your adhesive on, okay? Trust me. Okay, so here we go, and we're going to do it all. This is part of why I like the tear and tape, because it really lets me decide when it's going to get sticky. So I'm just going to put all of it on, and I'm putting it right up against the edge and tearing it, and then I'm going to put it against the fold as well, like so. Okay, and I'm going to do all of my flaps. That's one of the joys of the tear and tape, is so that you can do it all at once, and then it just gets sticky when you need it to be sticky by lifting off that cover. All right, so here's tear and tape on that against the edge, and again against this fold. And it doesn't have to be highly accurate, but you do kind of want it on the inside so that you don't have adhesive on the outside of your bag, because that's kind of icky. All right, then we'll do the other side, and then we're going to make it look like a bag, people. All right, here we go. And then this again is right up against the fold, so that everything kind of stays right and tight when your bag is being made. Okay, and the final flap, here we go. And there we have it. Okay, so all 4 flaps are now adhesivated. Now, we're going to do one side at a time. Just take off this the cover, maybe. There we go. Okay. Okay, now this is all you got to do is just pull up the large tab and line up the edges as you close your bag up. All right, like so, and give it a little push down, and then pick up your covers here. And then line up the edges as you close it. Like so. And then give it a little rub while you've still got it open. Okay, you can see it starting to come together. And then we'll just do the other side. Now this gets to be kind of a Rubik's Cube puzzle, but it's doable. Well, it's doable if you can get that tape cover off there. All right. And then line up that edge as you close it down. And you've still got room, but you can use your bone folder to stick in there and kind of give it a little burnish so that it's good and stuffed down. And then you can pull this tab off. Go from this direction, probably be easier. See why that tear and tape is good, because otherwise you'd have sticky really before you were ready for it. And then things would be going everywhere. Cats would be sleeping with dogs. Okay, here we go. All right, and then just line up that edge as you close it down. With the tear and tape, you know, you can't stick it down and then pick it back up very well, but you've got a little bit of play if you don't do this right away. There you go. You can see it kind of all comes together. Now, here we go. To make it into a bag, we're going to fold these little tabs in and then fold one of the large tabs in like that. And if you want, you can actually, if you want, you can, and I'll show you how that looks here in just a second. Just take a little piece of the tear and tape and you can stick it on the inside of the tab so that it will stay down, if that makes you happier. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Fully up to you. There we go. All right. Just like that. Now, take your forefingers and just kind of gently push in the sides like that, and then give them a little squish. That's a technical project making term. Give them a little squish. And et voila, the bag begins to form. Okay? Now, to make us a spot to tie, we're going to fold the top down like so. And then I just take my 1 inch, well, this is a 1/2 inch circle punch. And what I do is I stick it all the way in and I push it against where there's folds so that that kind of pushes it out a little bit. It really won't go easily any further to the outside of the bag. And then I give it a punch. And it's a little hard, I'm not gonna lie. You have to use a little force. If you don't have the hand strength for that, get it lined up and then turn it and punch just like that, and you'll be good to go. And then all that is left is to decorate however you want to decorate your bag. And you can close it with a tie like so. I mean, you know, after you put some chocolate or something in it. And then, so fill it up with your treats or your toys or whatever it is that you're going to be giving with your gift bag, and make your tag and your decorations, and then tie it up with a pretty bow, and you're good to go. All right, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll try one soon. Thanks, bye-bye.